The phone rang at Dorothy's house on a Tuesday morning, and the voice on the other end said he was her grandson. He was crying. He said he'd been in a car accident, that it was his fault that he'd been arrested. He begged her not to tell his parents. He was too ashamed. A lawyer would call next with instructions, he said, and he asked her through tears for one thing: money for bail, quickly, quietly, before it was too late. Dorothy was 79. She had raised that boy. She knew his voice, and the voice was crying. What Dorothy didn't know, what almost no one her age knows until it's too late, is that the voice was not her grandson. It was a stranger. Within 2 hours she had withdrawn $11,000 in cash, handed it to a courier at her door, and told no one. By the time her real grandson called that evening, safe and confused, the money was gone. It would never come back. Dorothy was not foolish. She was not senile. She was a sharp, capable woman who fell victim to one of the most sophisticated, emotionally engineered crimes operating in the world today, a crime specifically designed to target older adults, exploit their love and drain their savings before anyone notices. I'm telling you Dorothy's story because financial fraud against older adults is an epidemic, and it is getting worse. Older adults lose billions of dollars every year to scams, and that number captures only the reported cases. The majority are never reported because the single most powerful weapon these criminals have is shame. Your parent may be targeted this week. They may already have been, and they may never tell you. Today I'm going to show you how these scams work, why older adults are targeted, the most common schemes operating right now, the warning signs of victimization, and how to protect the people you love before the money is gone. Because here is the truth at the center of this video. These crimes are preventable, but only if families talk about them before they happen. Before we go further, this is information every family needs before a Tuesday morning phone call, not after. Share this video with the people in your family who would want to protect your parent. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do it now. Every week one publish content exactly like this, clinical, honest, and built for families navigating the care of an aging parent. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. Let me start with the question families always ask first: why older adults? The answer isn't about weakness or decline. Older adults are more likely to have accumulated savings, a lifetime of work, sitting in retirement accounts, and home equity. They are simply put where the money is. They're also more likely to be home to answer the phone, more likely to be isolated and responsive to a friendly or urgent voice, and more likely to belong to a generation raised to be polite, trusting, and respectful of authority. When someone claiming to be from the bank, the government, or the police calls with urgency, that instinct to cooperate becomes a vulnerability. There's a cognitive dimension, too, without being condescending about it. A scam engineered to create panic and emotional flooding, which is exactly what these scams are engineered to do, can override careful judgment in anyone, and somewhat more easily in an older brain operating under manufactured stress. And if there's any degree of cognitive decline present, the vulnerability multiplies. And finally, shame. Criminals know an older adult who falls for a scam is very unlikely to report it, because admitting it feels like admitting they can no longer manage their own affairs. So the crime hides itself. The victim becomes the keeper of the secret. And the scammers count on exactly that. Now let me walk you through the specific scams operating right now, because recognizing them by name is the first line of defense. The first is the one that got Dorothy, the grandparent scam. A caller poses as a grandchild, or a lawyer or police officer calling on their behalf in urgent crisis. The story always has three ingredients: urgency, secrecy, and a demand for money. Don't tell Mom and Dad. I need it now. And increasingly, these criminals use artificial intelligence to clone a grandchild's actual voice from a few seconds of audio scraped from social media, which is why Dorothy was certain she recognized the voice. This technology is real. It is here, and it is being used right now. The second is the government impersonation scam. The caller claims to be from the tax authority, Social Security, or Medicare, with a threatening message. You owe money, your benefits will be suspended. There's a warrant for your arrest. The goal is fear, then a way out, an immediate payment or verification of personal information. Teach your parent this. Real government agencies do not call demanding immediate payment, do not threaten arrest over the phone, and never ask to be paid in gift cards or wire transfers. The third is the tech support scam. A pop-up or a call warns that the computer is infected or hacked. The technician asks for remote access, and once they have it, they have everything: banking, passwords, files. It preys on the discomfort many older adults feel with technology. The fourth is the romance scam, one of the most devastating financially and emotionally. A criminal builds a relationship online over weeks or months, patient, attentive, affectionate, targeting isolated or widowed older adults. They never video call, they never meet, and eventually there's a crisis that requires money. The losses are often enormous, and the emotional damage of the betrayal can be worse than the financial loss. The fifth category covers lottery and prize scams. You've won. Just pay the fees to release your winnings. And the growing world of investment and cryptocurrency scams promising guaranteed high returns. The rule to teach is absolute. You cannot win a lottery you never entered, and any investment promising guaranteed high returns with no risk is a scam, without exception. If you're finding this valuable, and I hope you are, take 1 second right now and hit the like button. It genuinely helps this content reach other families before a scammer reaches their parents. Like and keep watching. Now the warning signs, because your parent may not tell you they're being targeted, which means you have to be able to see it. Watch for unusual financial activity, unexplained withdrawals, especially large ones, unfamiliar charges, transfers to accounts you don't recognize. Watch for the sudden purchase of gift cards, one of the single most reliable red flags of an active scam, because almost no legitimate transaction requires paying someone in gift cards. Watch for secrecy about money or phone calls, a new reluctance to discuss finances, or visible anxiety after being on the phone. Watch for a sudden new friend, advisor, or romantic interest your parent is protective of. And watch for changes in mood, stress, withdrawal, or fear without an obvious explanation. There's also a heartbreaking pattern worth naming. If your parent has been victimized once, they're immediately at higher risk again, because their information gets sold among criminals, and because a second scammer will often pose as someone who can recover the money lost in the first scam for a fee. A single incident is never just a single incident. That's why intervention matters so much. So how do you protect the people you love? This is where families can change the outcome entirely. The foundation of everything is the conversation, and the way you have it matters enormously. The instinct is to warn sternly, don't fall for scams, but that backfires because it feels condescending and triggers exactly the shame that keeps victims silent. A far better approach is to frame it as information, not instruction. Show them this video. Tell them about Dorothy. Make it about the cleverness of the criminals, not the gullibility of the victim, because these criminals genuinely are clever, and saying so removes the shame from being targeted. And give them permission in advance. This is one of the most powerful things you can do. Tell your parent clearly and warmly. If anyone ever calls you in an emergency asking for money, or claiming to be me or one of the kids, hang up and call me first, no matter how urgent. You will never get in trouble for checking with me first. That's exactly what I want you to do. You're giving them a safe exit that overrides the panic the scammers manufacture. And then establish concrete safeguards together, framed as protecting both of you rather than monitoring them. A family code word that any real relative in genuine crisis would know is a simple, powerful defense against the grandparent scam and against AI voice cloning specifically, because the cloned voice won't know the word. We always talk before any large or unusual financial decision. Habit adds a pause that scams cannot survive, because every one of these crimes depends on speed and isolation. And a trusted contact on the bank account, which most banks offer, lets the bank alert a designated person about suspicious activity. Teach the universal rules that defeat almost every scam. Legitimate organizations never demand payment in gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency. Real agencies don't threaten immediate arrest over the phone. Never give information to someone who called you. Hang up and call the institution back using the number on your card or statement, never a number the caller provides. And when in doubt, slow down. Every scam dies the moment the victim stops, hangs up, and asks someone they trust. Urgency is the scammer's oxygen. Remove the urgency and you remove the scam. This is the moment where I want to ask you something directly. If this video made you think of a parent who lives alone, who answers every call, who would never want to bother you with a problem, share it with the family members who help look after them. This conversation needs to happen across the whole family, out loud before the phone rings. Share it. Leave a comment below. And if your family has been through this, your story may be exactly what protects someone else's parent. And subscribe if you haven't yet. And what if it has already happened? The first and most important thing is your reaction. Do not respond with anger or blame. Your parent is already feeling profound shame, and a harsh reaction guarantees they'll hide the next incident, which leaves them more vulnerable, not less. Respond with compassion. This happened because these criminals are extremely good at what they do. It is not your fault. We'll deal with this together. That response keeps communication open, and open communication is your parent's single best protection going forward. Then act. Contact the bank immediately. Fast action sometimes allows transactions to be stopped or reversed. Report the fraud to the authorities, even though recovery is often unlikely, because reporting helps track these criminals. Change compromised passwords and account information. Watch closely for retargeting, which is highly likely, and consider gently and respectfully whether additional account safeguards are now warranted, always balancing protection with your parent's dignity. Here's what your family can do starting this week. Today, have the conversation or plan it. Frame it as information and shared protection, never as a warning about their judgment. Show them this video. Tell them about Dorothy. This week, establish a family code word and give your parent explicit permission, in plain words, to always hang up and call you first, no matter how urgent any caller sounds. And teach the universal rules. No legitimate request is ever paid in gift cards. Never give information to someone who called you. Always hang up and call back on a known number. This month, set up practical safeguards together. A trusted contact on the bank account, fraud alerts, and a mutual we discuss large financial decisions together habit. Ongoing, keep the conversation alive and judgment-free. Check in not as a monitor, but as a partner. The families who are protected are the ones where talking about money and scams is normal, frequent, and free of shame. Here's what I want you to carry with you from today. Dorothy never fully forgave herself, even though there was nothing to forgive. The cruelest part of these crimes is not only the money, it's what they do to a person's confidence and dignity, and the secret they force the victim to carry alone. Dorothy's family learned about it too late to recover the money. But they did something that mattered enormously afterward. They made sure she knew it wasn't her fault. They put protections in place, and they made talking about it safe. She was targeted twice more that year. Both times, because of that open conversation, she hung up and called her daughter first. Both times the money stayed in her account. That is the whole point. You may not be able to stop the calls from coming. They will come. But you can make sure that when they do, your parent has a code word, a safe exit, and a family they trust enough to call before the money is gone. The conversation is uncomfortable. Have it anyway. Have it this week. Have it before the phone rings. If this video gave you something real, something you're going to act on, or share with someone or carry into a conversation with your own family, please take a moment to like it. Share it with the people who help protect your parent, because every one of them should know this. And leave a comment below telling me what you're navigating, what's worked for your family, or what you wish you'd known sooner. I read every single one. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please subscribe. This is where I publish honest, clinical, practical guidance for families trying to do right by the people they love every single week. Thank you for being here and for caring enough to watch all the way to the end. That attention is exactly what makes the difference. I'll see you soon.